Hey everybody, the next project on my 1966 Lincoln Continental is going to be removing the full dashboard. Now to remove the dashboard, it is much easier to have the steering column already down as well as having the front bench seat already out. As you can see, mine are out, and I will link in the description below as I do have videos if you need assistance in removing those. But let's go ahead and get started on this part of the project now. Since the lower part of the driver's side of the dashboard is in a good spot, we're going to come over here to the passenger side and we're going to start with the glove box. Okay, getting started on the glove box. Now, interestingly, you'll see that my clock is missing. It's not technically missing. I've already removed this, and that was actually the first video I ever did when I started working on this car. And it's actually one of the main reasons I started this YouTube channel is I realized there's not very good video content for these older cars. And I spent more time trying to find video content about removing that clock than it took me to actually remove the clock. So that's why that's already out. And when I did that, to get to that clock, you have to remove the glove box insert. Now there's a series of about 9 screws, Phillips headed screws, that will allow this insert to come out. So I already did that when I removed the clock. So this should theoretically just come right out. All right, backing off just a second so I can show on the video. To the left of the glove box is the ashtray. To the right of the glove box is the fuse panel. All 3 of those are on a hinge setup that are bolted up underneath the dash. So let's see what hardware is required to get that off now. From the middle of the glove box towards the left where the ashtray is, it looks like there's a series of 3 5/16 bolts. And one of those bolts is also holding on an HVAC bracket. So we'll pull that down. And on the right side here, we have another series of 3 5/16 bolts and what appears to be 2 1/2-inch bolts. Now, if I'm looking at this correctly, if I unbolt all of those, everything should just drop down. All right, with all the hardware removed, on the arm of the glove box door, you can see there's a piece of rubber on the end that we just need to take off. All right, now to the ashtray. The first thing we're gonna do is just take the tray out itself. See if there's anything in here that exposes. We will have to do some wiring going to the lighter. However, I think now we just need to press in the tabs on both sides, and I think everything will be able to drop down, and then we can remove the wiring connectors. All right, my plan to take this whole hinge setup with the fuse panel, glove box door, and the ashtray door all in one fell swoop is not going to work. I'm not able to get the hinge to twist down enough to pull this bracket on the glove box door through this hole. So instead, I'm going to remove the ashtray assembly or cage for lack of a better term. It's being held on with 4 Phillips headed screws. Once that is out of the way, it will expose 3 3/8 nuts, and that's what's holding the ashtray door onto the hinge. Then I'll be able to unplug any of the wiring, and that should, hopefully, give enough room for the hinge to twist and the whole assembly can come out. And given that the fuse panel cover nuts are also exposed, I'm going to remove those as well. And now, the moment of truth. And she's out. All right, next, we're going to move over here to what the shop manual refers to as the AC casting assembly. So we're going to remove this, which is being held on with a series of 6 Phillips headed screws. With the 6 screws now out and the panel moved out just a little bit, you'll see that it exposes the ducts, the AC ducts that mount to the panel. And each one is being held on with 2 5/16 bolts, both one on this side and that side. So we'll get those out now. Next, we're over to the driver's side and we're going to remove these 3 screws that hold the dash hood onto the crash pad. While visibility isn't great, there is a windshield molding right here that's being held on with 4 Phillips headed screws. So we're gonna take those out now. All right, with that windshield molding now out of the way, that is going to expose more hardware to get this crash pad off. And it appears that there's either 4 bolts and 2 studs or a total of 6 bolts that appear to be 3/8 headed. So let's go ahead and pull those off now. All right, with all of that hardware out of the way, I believe there's just one thing left to get this pad out, and that's removing this here. There's 2 screws. And I think this top screw is the only thing that's holding this pad on now. All right, with all the hardware out of the way, there is one electrical connection. I'm reaching in through here. It's just for the speaker. So I've removed that. Now, this should move out entirely. I have been humbled by this car before, so let's see if that's true. Great. Oh wow, this thing's in great condition too. All right, crash pad is now out. We're gonna move to the instrument cluster, including the radio and the AC, and we're gonna start by pulling off these 3 knobs. All right, all the knobs are removed. We're now gonna remove the bezels. Each one is being held on with what appears to be a 5/8 nut. Next, we're gonna remove this finish cover, and the way to remove this is to access it from underneath here. There's gonna be 4 5/16 headed bolts that will be accessed through some holes here, and that will allow the cover to come off. We're now gonna remove the odometer reset knob, and to do so, we just turn it counterclockwise. We're now going to remove a series of 3 screws that retain the lower edge of the upper cluster finish panel. We're now up to the top part where we're going to remove a series of 4 screws that retain the upper edge of the upper cluster finish cover, and then we'll remove the cover. Next, we're going to remove a series of 4 different trim pieces. The 2 on the outside are being held on with 1 Phillips headed screw on the bottom here. And then these pieces are each being held on with 4 1/4 inch screws or bolts, 3 from underneath, 1 up top. So let's go ahead and pull those out now. All right, with those trim and molding pieces out of the way, we can now remove both the left and right side HVAC vents, which are, each one is being held on with 4 1/4 inch bolts or screws. All right, with those 4 bolts now removed, you'll now see up top that there's 1 bolt on top, 5/16 headed, that is holding the HVAC vent to the ducting, and there's also 1 underneath. So let's go ahead and remove both of those, and that should allow this to pull right out. All right, as we move over to this one, given that we need to take out that bolt that mounts the vent to the ducting, I'm actually gonna remove the radio first. It's already unbolted, so I'm just gonna lower that down and see what is necessary. If anything else needs to be unbolted, unplug the wiring. So we'll jump on the radio now, then we'll go back to that HVAC vent. All right, with the radio drop down, there's gonna be a series of 1, 2, 3, 4 wiring connectors and an antenna that need to be disconnected. All right, with the radio out of the way, you can see that the ducting on this side is a little bit different, and there's just a clamp that holds it on, and it's already pretty loose. So it doesn't have those 2 5/16 bolts that holds the ducting to the HVAC vent. So we just need to remove the 4 screws on front, and then I believe there's 1 electrical connection available from up top that we need to remove. Great, with the AC register or vent out of the way, it exposes the speedometer cable, which is being held on with a, looks like it would be a 3/4 inch. So we'll use an open end wrench to get that off now. All right, with the speedometer cable out of the way, that's now going to expose 3 flat-headed screws, which are going to allow us to take the speedometer assembly out of the cluster. All right, with the speedometer assembly now out of the way, the next thing I want to work on is getting out the manual temperature control. And then I'm also going to remove all of these light bulbs, and I'm going to then get underneath this cluster and see exactly what is necessary from both a vacuum line and electrical perspective to see what is necessary to then get this cluster out. Removing the bulbs is actually pretty easy. You just need to turn the housing 90 degrees and pull that out. That side's done. And this side's done. All right, we're now back underneath the fuel gauge, and for orientation purposes, passenger side is that way, driver side is that way. So there's gonna be a series of wires and light bulbs that need to be pulled off. So this first one on the passenger side is going to be a yellow wire with a white stripe, so we can pull that off now. Then you're gonna see this next one on the driver's side, which is a black wire with a green stripe. That also will get pulled off. Then we have 2 light bulbs. One is going to pull out right here, and the second one is going to rotate about 90 degrees, and that will pull out. Great. Now coming over here, we're going to have 2 different bundles, so to speak. So this first one is going to be the black wire with the green stripe. That will pull out from here. And then there's this bundle here of both the black wire as well as this purple wire. That will pull off. Now, as you can see, the black wire goes to the back of this. So we have 2 options. I can unbolt this right here, or I can unbolt this whole mechanism right up here using a 1/4-inch socket. All right, with the wires and bulbs for the fuel gauge now removed from underneath the dash, we can now remove the gauge using a 1/4-inch socket. All right, now we're gonna move over to the manual temperature control and see what electrical and vacuum lines need to be removed from underneath the dash. All right, back under the dash, orientation, passenger side that way, driver's side is the opposite way. And you'll see on the manual temperature control module, there are 2 vacuum lines. So there's a smaller one that is on the passenger side and a much larger one that is on the driver's side. And those attach to the climate control unit here, and the larger one is going to be on this nipple, which is going to be on the corner. And the second one was already removed, so I don't know exactly where that one will go. I will review that later when we work on reinstalling the whole vacuum mechanism. With the vacuum lines now removed, all we have left is these 2 electrical connectors. We'll unplug those, and then we should be able to dismount the manual temperature control. All right, for orientation purposes, again, passenger side, driver side. And to take out this manual temperature control, it appears that there's 2 bolts that would be on the passenger side and 2 other bolts that would be on the driver side. All appear to be 5/16. So let's see if that's all that is necessary to take this out. All right, next, we have a series of about 8 light bulbs that are on the back side of this cluster. All of them just need to be turned 90 degrees and will pull right out of the housing. And we have 2 more light bulbs, one that was behind the HVAC register or vent. Same thing, turn 90 degrees, pull right out. And the same thing on the other side. All right, if my calculations are correct, we are now ready to take out this cluster, and it looks like there's gonna be a series of about 6 3/8 nuts that will pull this off. To get to where we are now, the shop manual has been extremely helpful for everything that's been removed. However, now that we're this deep into removing the dash, the shop manual will be less helpful, and we just have to use a little bit of intuition and logic. And I'm gonna start moving from the driver's side all the way over to the passenger side and see what needs to be removed. So we're now going to start the trial and error part of this project. And the first thing I'm going to do is remove these 2 half-inch bolts right here. And there's 2 more half-inch bolts right here as well. I'm going to remove those and see what else is next. So at this point, let's see if we can perform the wiggle test. As you can see, there's not much holding this outer dash shell on, but I am noticing that it's wanting to stick on this interior piece. So we're gonna first start by getting this out, but there's more that's involved than just taking off this piece. In order to remove this interior trim, I'll have to remove this A-pillar molding, which is also covered by the molding that's going to go across the top of the windshield. And I'll have to do the same thing on the passenger side. And then I'll have to get to that same interior molding on that side as well. So this might be some scope creep. It might not be necessary. I think it is. So I'm going to pull all of this out now. And we will first start by removing the sun visors, which appear to be held on with an Allen head, which looks like to be about a 3/32 seconds. Next, we're going to remove the top molding piece that goes above the windshield, which is being held on with what appears to be 5 Phillips headed screws. Next, we need to remove the corner molding. Now, it does sit underneath the molding that's above the door. However, I think we can remove this one screw, then remove this screw, and it should pull right out. And now to do the same thing on the passenger side. Next, we're going to do the A-pillar molding on both the driver and passenger side, which is only being held on with this one screw here. With the chrome molding now out of the way, we can pull out this top interior piece above the driver's side of the dashboard just using a Phillips headed screwdriver. And now the same thing here on the passenger side. All right, with both corner pieces now out of the way, I'm going to do the wiggle test to see exactly what's left. It's not much. In fact, I think this is ready to come out. There might be something on the driver's side. So what I'm going to do now is there's going to be some miscellaneous wire looms that are attached to this outer shell piece. So I'm now going to go through, make sure everything is removed so that we can fish the wiring back through the back side of this and then pull out this, for a lack of better term, outer dash shell. So we are now going to pull off this wire loom clamp off of this outer dash shell, and it is being held on with a 3/8 bolt. Next, we're going to take the speedometer cable and we're just going to move it to the other side of this dash so that it doesn't get impacted when we try and pull it out. All right, the moment of truth has arrived. We're going to try and take this out. See if we've missed anything. Now I will have some wires to unplug on the backside, more wires to unplug on the backside, more AC vent tubes to disconnect from this. But we are very, very close. I'll get a camera view in here so you can see. All right, we're approaching the back side of the dashboard from the driver door. As you see, we have multiple electrical connections here that need to be disconnected. And we have a series of multiple AC ducts that need to be removed, as well as more electrical connections here. So let's jump right in. And the moment we've been waiting for, getting this out of the car. And that's a wrap. The dashboard is now out of the car. However, you will see that there is a lot of parts that are still on the firewall. I will be removing those in a follow-up video. However, one of the main reasons I was pulling the dashboard off was to gain access to the hardware, which is accessible from this side, for the evap and heater core plastic box that's in the engine bay. So now it's going back under the hood to remove that evap and heater core box and continue on with the detail of the engine bay. So stay tuned for more content on the restoration of my 1966 Lincoln Continental. Thanks, guys.